Join us in the heart of Music City for an unforgettable leadership conference. Celebrate your achievements in Nashville, surrounded by the enthusiasm of your fellow independent Salesforce leaders. This event is about more than rewards. It's about reaching your goals and catching inspiration that can only come from attending Leadership Conference. First, you'll kick up your heels at the Guitars and Glam Party, hosted at Music City Center. Enjoy great food, amazing local music, dancing, and more. Those who qualify for Leadership Conference Luncheon will hear from a speaker who'll share how to keep the momentum going all seminar year long. Those of you who achieve the Power Up and Grow challenges will receive your rewards and recognition at Leadership Conference 2. Ready for your time in the spotlight under the Nashville stars? We'll see you there.
Get ready to travel to enchanting places beyond imagination. The 2026 Seminar Awards Circle of Excellence Top Independent Sales Director trip is going to Switzerland.
We can see a new horizon. We can feel adventure calling. Step out on the open road into the great unknown. Here we go.
For achievers of $650,000 and above, your journey begins in Montreux. Surrounded by Lake Geneva and breathtaking views of the Alps, your stay will be at the luxurious 5-star Fairmont Le Montreux Palace. This marvel of Belle Epoque, or beautiful age architecture, is truly fit for Mary Kay royalty. Sitting on the Swiss Riviera, you'll have easy access to the best of Switzerland. Discover all sides of history, from visiting ancient Chillon Castle to participating in unique and fun museum experiences. Go on a culinary adventure with cheese fondue tasting and vineyard tours. Or simply take in all the breathtaking natural beauty that surrounds you.
There's a world of endless color waiting for us to discover. Run into the open wide where dreamers come alive.
For Circle of Excellence prestige achievers of $800,000 and above, your Swiss expedition continues to Zurich. Get lost in nature, whether it's witnessing the sheer power of Rhine Falls, Europe's biggest waterfall, or venturing to Mount Pilatus for stunning nature trails, hiking, and more. Treat yourself to something sweet at Linz, home of Chocolate Workshop. Then finish the day at the Dolder Grand, complete with world-class spas and restaurants as you overlook sparkling Lake Zurich. For those who dare to dream big and work hard, all of this is waiting for you. So stand up and shine. We'll see you on the 2026 Seminar Awards Circle of Excellence Top Independent Sales Director trip.
Hey guys, it's National Sales Director Jamie Taylor here, and I am so excited to see you take the big stage at Career Conference 2026. Have you heard the good news? If you are in red, which means you're a star team builder, a team leader, or an elite team leader, if you're any of those, not only do you get to take the stage at Career Conference and have your moment in the big lights, you'll also get a bling badge. And maybe you've been on the stage before, maybe you haven't. But the first time I ever got to take a Mary Kay stage was at Career Conference as a red. And you know what? It's addicting. It changed my life. And I cannot wait for you to have your moment. And sales directors, if you're watching, you also get an onstage moment by having 3 active red jackets in your unit by the end of February. So you're going to get an onstage moment, a bling badge, and a special gift for accomplishing this. I know you can do it, and I'm so excited to see a sea of reds at Career Conference. I will see you guys there.
and Mary Kay. My name is Heidi Gilzer, National Sales Director from Portland, Oregon, and Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Well, last time we saw each other was in July, the Mary Kay New Year. And don't you guys love that in Mary Kay we actually get 2 New Years, which is super exciting? And so we were talking with our vision about the prophet Nehemiah, right? And we were wearing our sweatshirts that says, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Well, if you remember, Nehemiah was this guy. He was a cupbearer. He wasn't a prophet. He wasn't a priest. He was a regular person who was in Babylon. He had been taken captive, and there was a problem, right? There was a problem in Jerusalem. The city had been destroyed, the wall had been torn down, and the people were begging for their family members and their countrymen that were still exiled, someone to come help them. And so Nehemiah was called by God to go help them, not as a fancy person, as a normal person to go help them. Well, he accepted that call. And you know, one of my favorite things about God is that he does not call the equipped, he equips the called. Nehemiah was not a builder. Remember, he brought the king his cup. He made sure that the king wasn't being poisoned. That was his job. He was not an architect. He wasn't a builder. He wasn't a leader. And yet God called him and then he equipped him to do it. Well, if you read the book of Nehemiah, you know that there were lots of problems in there. There was lots of oppositions. People did not want them rebuilding the wall. In fact, it says in there that at one point they were holding a sword in one hand to defend themselves, and then, a hammer in the other hand to build the wall. And yet God was with them. God was with them and used Nehemiah as a leader to help restore Israel, And so you guys, when it's the month of July, right, anything is possible. We are excited. It is July 1st. It is a brand new year. We are watching this vision workshop and we are thinking, oh my goodness, yes, I can do that. I can earn my first car in Mary Kay. I can earn a Cadillac. I can be on a trip. I can do million. I can be a national sales director. And then it comes to December 27th. And we're looking at what has not happened and what we said we were going to do. And we're not quite halfway there, maybe. Congratulations to those of you who are. That's so exciting. But you know what? Most of the time, people are not on target for their goals that they decided on July 1st to be finished on June 30th on December 27th. And so this is the point where we start to back down. This is the point where we think, I'm going to change my goal because it really doesn't look possible. This is the point where you think, you know what, nobody really cares anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But this is the time when you must say, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. I'm doing a great work. You guys, you are leaders in this company where we truly get to live God first, family second, and career third. You get to use lipstick, as Mary Kay talked about, as a vehicle to change lives, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. My sisters, we are here to remind you that you are doing a great work and you cannot come down. And it might be messy in the middle. That's what happens, you guys, with anything great. It is messy in the middle. Are you willing to keep going through the middle? Well, today you are going to hear some halftime stories, okay? Some halftime stories. And we all believe that stories create emotion and emotion creates motion. And I pray today that you will hear that if she can, I can. And so this takes me back to a December in 2009. I can't do the math. I don't know how many years ago that was, but I had come off a mountaintop experience of being at seminar, and I was an elite executive for the first time. And I had a couple, I don't know, I hit the trip or something, and I had done, court of sales maybe, and I never did court of sharing, so I didn't do that. But I was feeling pretty fabulous. And then I got home and things fell apart. When I was at seminar, it looked like anything was possible. And then I came home and it wasn't possible in my brain anymore. I had people quit on themselves and not do what they say they were going to do, like every single one of us has, right? And so I got discouraged. I got really discouraged. And I decided I was totally going to give up on my dream and my goal of becoming a national sales director. You know what? It just wasn't worth it. It was too hard. Well, my friend Terry Schaefer, national sales director from San Antonio, I lived in San Antonio at the time, was having an event and I wasn't registered. I wasn't registered because I had a bad attitude. I wasn't registered because I didn't want to show up because I thought everybody was thinking about me. Little did I know, nobody was thinking about me. But she called me and she said, Heidi, why are you not registered for this event? You know, you need to be here. And I told her, I flat out lied, you guys, I flat out lied and told her I had a booking. I did not have a booking. I didn't have a booking. And she said, well, you need to reschedule this booking and be there because you need to be at this event. Wow, what a great friend. She's not my actual national sales director, but she called me out. And so I showed up, you guys. I showed up. And so I showed up with a bad attitude. I snuck in the back, and the speaker was Julius Henderson. He is a motivational speaker and an author, and I'm sure he spoke for hours, but I only heard him say one sentence. He said, don't let somebody else steal your dreams. Don't let somebody else steal your dreams. You see, I had let the people who had given up on their Mary Kay dreams steal my dream of becoming a national sales director. And so he shook me out of it. And so you guys, it was December. Guys, I'm not great at sales in like the fancy way of doing it. I'm not great at holiday sales. I'm not great at reaching out to men, but I am great at holding parties. And so I booked a power start. You know, that's what we just came off of, the kit and commit, going back to what works, right? Dusting off our starter kits. Congratulations. Type in the chat if you did the kit and commit. If you booked booked 8 to hold 5 by December 15th, and you're invited to the Jennifer Cook event in a couple days on the 29th. Oh my goodness. And we're doing it again. We're doing it again. We're kicking it off January 1st through February 15th, a kit and commit again. Book 8 to hold 5. Well, God bless those 5 parties, you guys. He gave me a gold medal from those 5 parties, and 3 of those people came in with $3,600 wholesale orders. Never in my life has that happened before that, and never has it happened since. But God knew what I needed to restore me, to restore my belief and my dream of becoming a national sales director. In the month of December, he did that. So what do I want you to hear from this? Number one, it's not over. It's not even halftime, and nothing matters less than the score at halftime. That's why we play this game. You are going to hear these halftime stories. Believe it, that if she can, you can. Number two, pay the price to be in the presence of powerful people, even if you don't want to. That one phrase from that one person changed my life. It totally did. What are you going to hear at leadership? If you're not registered, I pray that you all are. But if you're not, get registered today. And you know what? Who are you bringing with you? It is not too late to bring DIQs with you because your belief in them matters. Number three, play in your strengths. My strength is a power start. What is your strength? Number four, God knows what you need. He knows what you need, and he will give you what you need exactly when you need it. He will restore you. And finally, I was just at the $1 Million reunion at the beginning of this month, and we got to hear from Gloria Mayfield Banks. And what she said was this: if you need a tagline for 2026, you can take this one because I'm totally stealing it. She said, we are the fix. You guys, we don't need to worry about what's happening in the outside world. We don't need to worry about what's happening in corporate. We don't need to worry about what's happening with other people. We are the fix. We are the fix in 2026. I want you to type that in the chat. I am the fix in 2026. You guys, God has given you everything that you need. Everything that you need so that you know that you are doing a great work and you cannot come down. Nothing matters less than the score at halftime. Believe it, you guys. Change your thoughts, change your words, change your actions, change the results, and God will use you to change your world. I'm so excited. I'm excited to pass you on to my friend, National Sales Director from Virginia, Karen Rydell. Love you guys. Take it over, my sister.
Thank you, Heidi. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you to talk about vision. Vision is one of my most favorite things to talk about, and how crucial it is to stay committed to the vision that God gave you at the beginning of this seminar year. It's so easy to make that goal when you're excited and charged up from being at seminar and your belief is sky high. But there's a very danger zone right about now. Right about now is where you can say, it just doesn't look like it. Like, this is totally not even lining up like I thought it would. So I'm just going to quietly quit on that goal and find another one. Now, you may not use those words, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's a crisis of belief moment right here. And I'm here to tell you, keep believing. I remember in experiencing God, and if you've heard me speak before, I know you've heard me because this is one of my favorite sayings. A crisis belief moment is when you falter in your belief for what you know you've been called to. What you do next reveals what you believe about God. So, what is it that you believe about him? See, I believe that nothing is impossible for him, that all things are possible when we trust God and we just keep moving ahead. Now, another thing that I love about this part of the year is that it's my favorite time because this is where you can really create a shift. And you just never know who's going to join your unit that's going to be that firecracker in your unit that brings in tons of new people, or what idea God is going to give you that changes everything. So let me take you back to 2009. And this is the first year that we completed Circle of Excellence. But at the halfway point, it didn't look like we were completing the Circle of Excellence. It really didn't. I mean, we had a few decent months, but our new consultant growth was horrible. I think we had maybe 25 new from the beginning of July to December 31st. And I remember I was planning our New Year's workshop for the first week of January, and I was praying about it. And I was just like, Lord, what are we going to do to finish this year? We had kind of plateaued. We had done 500,000 our first 2 years as a unit, and then we went down to 400,000. It's just kind of a stuck spot. And I knew there was more in me, and I knew there was more in our unit. And I had revamped some systems, and I believed that we were going to be a Circle of Excellence unit. It just didn't look like it to the world. So as I was praying about it and putting together that workshop, God gave me an idea. I don't know about you, but a good idea is fabulous, but a God idea can change everything. And honestly, when I look back at this first year of being a Circle of Excellence unit, it was a God idea that changed everything. And I have always told the Lord that when you give me an idea, I will take immediate action on it. I'm not going to second guess it. I'm not going to pray about it. If you gave me an idea or you give me a person's name, I am going to get into action immediately because you see, I believe that's when God's anointing is on that idea. And I believe also that when you get into immediate action, it shows him that you are in faith, that you are believing and trusting him. So I'm asking you, have you asked God, like, what do you want me to know about this year? What is it, Lord, that I need to change about this year? So what he gave me was a way to do an interview. I realized that people weren't interviewing because they were just overwhelmed by the interview process. I mean, they just weren't doing the interviews. I was showing them how, I was teaching them how, but nothing was happening. They weren't taking ownership of the interview until that God idea came to me. And that idea was my $100 question. And you may have heard me share this before, but I'm telling you, it was a game changer for that year. Basically, it was asking the prospect, whether she was at a party or a facial or a grand opening or even making a delivery, to say to her, I'm doing a survey and I'm curious. If you were ever going to think about Mary Kay and we only had 5 more minutes to talk, what would be your biggest question about how the business works? See, that put the ball in their court to ask me their question rather than me trying to tell them everything under the sun or one of my consultants. And so I kicked off this contest and I said, let's see how many people we can ask this question and let's see how many questions we can answer. And I put up a $100 cash drawing for all of those questions that came in that month of January. Wow, they got it. They got into action. They started asking everybody. Now, you guys, I really believe from that first 6 months, we had about 25 new. But the second half of the year, we had over 100 new consultants because of that God idea. Seriously, it was amazing. When God gives you an idea, move, get into action, because all it takes is one God idea to shift everything. So right now, if you're a little distracted and you're thinking this goal is not going to happen, and whether you're feeling discouraged or defeated or distracted, I'm asking you to stay on the wall like our friend Nehemiah. He didn't let the distraction stop him from the work that God had given him. And I'm asking you to stay on the wall with the vision that God gave you for this year, because all it takes is one God idea to shift everything. Well, we did go on to finish Circle of Excellence. In fact, we crossed over on June 30th about 9 o'clock in the morning with 650. And by the end of that night, we finished with $693,000. We did almost 20,000 wholesale in one day. Now, why is that? Well, we were working to be a top 10 unit as well. And you don't know where you are in top 10 till you are at seminar. So we worked and we worked and we worked. Even though we crossed over 650, we kept going. And when I got to seminar, they lined me up alphabetically, and I knew we had not only reached 650, but we were in the top 10. And as they started announcing each of the top 10, number 10, I knew it would be me. It wasn't. Number 9, number 8, number 7. Y'all, the tears started running. My unit was on the front row. They were crying. Chuck was looking at me like, what is going on? And I was like, wow. And they kept going. Number 6, number 5, number 4, Karen Rydell. Y'all, this is what my face looked like. There I am with National Sales Director Emeritus Candy Jackson. She was looking at me. Can you see the look of unbelief on my face? Like, that was just shock and awe, you guys. I couldn't believe what God did. And you're not going to be able to believe what God does through your faith-filled efforts. So stay on the wall. Stay committed to the dream that God gave you. You're one God idea away from creating crazy momentum and finishing this year with that dream reached.
Hello, hello. It is National Sales Director Diana Sumter, and Merry Christmas. So excited to be a part of Vision Part 2. And oh my gosh, I know that you loved Heidi's opening and Karen's story about her first trip. And this is going to sound a little familiar as well. One of the things we talk about is that y'all see us on the other side of all of the personal growth that needed to happen for us to get here. And I do believe that God works on us to grow our character to match our calling. And some of you all are just starting that journey. Some of y'all are in the midst of it. Some of y'all are barely getting on the other side of that. But there are just so many cycles in this business. And I'm so excited for you directors to just realize that your story is so important because it's your story, and that there's a group of people out there that are only going to relate to you. And many of you all know my story. I've been in Mary Kay now 38 years. I started when I was 23. I was active duty in the Air Force. When I started with Mary Kay, I wore no makeup. I washed my face with shampoo. My favorite word was the F word, not fun or faith. So I'll let you figure out what the other one was. I did work rotating 12-hour shifts. I was gone about 10 days out of every month to an undisclosed location. I was on call 24/7. The system that I worked on was one of the ways the president talked to the head of the European forces. I was interviewing at that point because of my top secret SCI clearance to go to work for the CIA. So my life looked great. And if you've ever met my husband, he's like the best looking man on the planet. It took me a long time to convince him to marry me, and this beautiful daughter. And so on the outside, my life looked really, really good. And, one of the things that as I'm looking back over my life, I have realized that how I saw me and how other people saw me, there was a huge disconnect. I remember whenever I got started in Mary Kay, it was the lady who led me to the Lord, is the lady that knew I wanted to be at home with our daughter during the golden hours, which are that 3 to 6, where you can have dinner together with your family. You have a relaxing time, just kind of catch your breath, be there when they walk through the door to hear about their day. It's only about 5 minutes, just to be able to create that quiet, safe environment for your family to come back home and for you to be able to do that. And just a little FYI for y'all that are high energy, type A like me, high D, I found that I had to shut my day down about 30 minutes before Samantha came home. Our daughter came home because it was really hard for me to go hard charging future national into mommy. And so we kind of worked through some of that. And, so whenever I started in Mary Kay, I will tell you that I was hooked from the beginning. I was recruited at Pam Heston's house, and Connie Lamp is my senior director. She was adopted by Deb Pike and Mary Pat Rayner, who are both retired NSDs, and Stacy James. She was not there that night, but she was our adopted director, who's also retired national. So I grew up as a Karen Piro director. So my culture in Mary Kay is very, very deep. And one of the things I'm so grateful for, my training in Mary Kay was not just about the booking, coaching, selling, and recruiting, is that we were great dream weavers. And my director found out from the very beginning that what drove me, and I mean, I was obsessed with it. I mean, and I don't believe obsession is bad, because to get through anything, like nobody says to Olympic players, oh, they're too obsessed. Nobody's saying to these football players, oh, they're so obsessed. Nobody's saying to the pastors, oh, they're so obsessed. When you are in the middle of what you are called to do, you're going to be obsessed. And while the rest of the world is trying to discipline themselves to work, we have to discipline ourselves not to work. So that's not in my notes, so I don't know who needed to hear that. But I will tell you, whenever I came into Mary Kay, because I was so in love with getting other women to be able to have the two things all women want, which is it all. And that was to be able to be an executive paid woman on your times and your terms. And so you might not have kids, but you might have parents, and you might not be married, but you might want to travel, or whatever that is. That there was this dream life that you were going after, and that only in Mary Kay could I find that I could give it away to somebody else. And so I came into Mary Kay, and I was a great student. I love to learn. And so even if I fell short on a goal, my director was so good at saying, hey, it doesn't matter. It was just a good lesson. You've got X number of lessons to learn from point A to point B. And guess what? You're another month closer to getting home with Samantha. Connie was so wise to do that for me. So I didn't go up and down based on a promotion, not based on a position, not based on a platform. I was just so focused on my future. And I believe that that's one of those things that makes such a difference. Then we went on, we earned our car within 8 months, became a sales director. I was making 3 times more in my Mary Kay than I was in the military. So I qualified for an early out. 1 year later, drove my pink Cadillac, took it back to my job, which I wasn't supposed to, and had my rights read to me, my Miranda rights. Not everybody gets that excitement. But I wanted to show them that it could be done. Now, what happened at that point is I went really fast. Had 3 Outspring directors, sold over 400,000. Our first year, that was 1980, I think 1988. That's like the $900,000 in today's world. But you know, the thing that I will tell you is that even though it looked like I was there, what happened to me was year 2 for me, because I had not grown my character to match my calling. And so in my mind, you know, we have a thermostat of what we believe, right? We have a thermostat on finances, right? Some thermostats are set to making $1 million a month, right? Some people are to make $1 million in a lifetime. Like whatever your thermostat is set to, that's what you're going to go to work. But it is also in the way that you see yourself. And so I will tell you that for me, as every year in January, we would be on target for the trip. And my second conversation in my head, you know, that's that voice in the back of your mind that gets going, would say, Diana, you know what? You were born, you grew up in a 900 square foot block home. Your dad was born in a tent. You've only graduated high school. You know, your grandparents were sharecroppers. Tom was a born to a single mom there in St. Louis. Like, you are not those kind of trip people. So every year I would just self-sabotage. Mine was I could find chaos and all these kinds of things. And so I would just chaos out. And after about 10 years, the trip to Alaska came up. And I remember Tom saying, honey, I don't know what you got to get fixed, but you got to get this fixed because I want to go to Alaska. And it was at that point, as crazy as it sounded, I pulled out dream books, and I pulled out goal posters. And the other thing that I did was I had our outfits of what we were going to wear. I had everything taken care of with Samantha. And so what happened is that I did not self-sabotage. I just kept working. That's whenever I started learning to work on 10 dream sessions every single week, no matter what was going on, 10 dream sessions a week, so that I had 10 people coming in, so that I could have 10 people moving up. And I swelled my unit size, right? I'd always been a little fragile prior to that. I'd always done more with less, and that's exhausting. And so I needed to grow really big, and I focused on career path movement. And I can remember we got down to June, we still needed 52,000 wholesale. I had never done that ever in my career. When we came down to the last 3 days of the month, you know what happened was we still needed 26,000 wholesale, which was again more than we had ever done in a month. But I just kept looking at this goal poster, and it was so real. Like, I lived in my winter story. I knew what it was going to feel like to wake up in July and that it was going to happen. And I just knew it. And I will tell you that I operated with that. And my unit, they rallied. We would do a drawing for those that we'd give them like 3 hours to go out and sell, and then we do a drawing from the orders. And I'm going to tell you that during that time, I had 22,000 fall out in new orders. In other words, we thought they could get capital for their business, but they could not, and we had to sell it, and we did. And I can still remember what that feels like, and what is on the other side of that. Right? Are you part of team excuse or team evidence? And so I want your story to be the one that you're telling, like me, that it is so worth it to pull out your dream book, pull out your goal posters, and go to work. What is something you have been unwilling to do? For me, it was to focus on the power of 10. I cannot wait to hear your story. You deserve it. You're on the other side. Recognize that second conversation, erase and replace. And I am so excited to turn this over to my girlfriend, Dr. Lakeisha Chisholm. She is going to rock your world. Bye-bye, y'all. See you at Leadership.
Thank you so much, Diana. I'm excited to talk with you today about bounce back and build again. I want you to write this down. Vision in the middle. There's something powerful that most people overlook this time of year, and that is the grace to start fresh in the middle. Vision doesn't belong only to January. Vision belongs to any moment you decide to look forward instead of backwards. Because when we talk about bounce back, we often get stuck in the bounce, the fall, the hit, the moment the ball touched the ground. But vision isn't about the fall. Vision is about the spring. It's about what rises again. And right now, we're standing in the middle of our seminar year, the middle of change, the middle of transition, which makes this the perfect moment to reset our vision. Let's be honest, you guys. Change, it is uncomfortable. And right now, Mary Kay is changing. I want you to know that change builds strength. If we look back, we've been here before. I remember when the company said, no more on holds. And people clutched their pearls and thought they wouldn't survive. But we did. And many directors, you're stronger than ever now. I remember when InTouch received a makeover, and there were glitches and frustration. And yet, here we are, stronger because of it. Change doesn't weaken us. Resistance to change, that is what weakens us. Every season of growth in this company has required adjustment. And this moment is no different. This isn't about just finishing 2025. This is about positioning ourselves to walk into 2026 stronger, wiser, and more focused. You know, I'm reminded of my own bounce back story at my fall advance. You see, my state senator, she came in and she welcomed everybody into the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And while she was doing that, she reminded me from the stage of a season that I had buried so deep, like I never wanted to think about that season again. Okay. She said, do you remember that dark, devastating season when you lost so much and people wondered if you would recover? And she was right. I lost a lot of things that mattered in that season. I lost people, I lost momentum, I lost position, I lost title, I lost a career car. Oh my goodness. But then she reminded me of something even more important. She reminded me that I did not lose my drive. Although you may lose people, titles, cars, but if you still have drive, you still have movement. And if you still have movement, you can still move forward. And that's exactly what I did. I moved forward. I not only bounced back, but I bounced past that season. See, everything that I may have worried and wondered or just been, depressed, depleted about that I had lost, guess what? It was all restored and elevated in from that season, to this season now. And so much so that I was at ground zero and I became a national sales director. Please don't tell me you cannot bounce back and build again, because you can. I'm living proof that you can bounce back and build again. Proverbs 24:16 says, though a righteous woman falls 7 times, she rises again. The power, you all, is not in the fall. The power is in the rise. That season, it did not end me. It powered me up. And this season, it will not end you. It's going to power you up. So here's the real question that I have for you right now. You can put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Do you still have drive? Do you still have drive left in you? Because the end of December, it's not about perfection. It's about a decision. This is the moment to kick yourself into overdrive, not out of pressure, but out of purpose. Finish December strong, not because you're behind, but because you're building momentum for what's next. You're building momentum for the rise. Habakkuk 2:3 states, though the vision tarries, wait for it, and it will surely come. Waiting doesn't mean standing still or doing nothing. Waiting means staying engaged. When I think of moving forward, you get stronger as you move forward. And I kept saying that word, stronger, girl, stronger. Like, oh my gosh, like what girl do I want to add to strong to just make it even more? Yes. You know what? Stronger. I want to add grit, the courage to stay in the game, you guys. I want to add some grace for ourselves and for our teams and for our units. I want to add some growth because we are not done evolving. I want to add some gumption, bold faith and action. And I want to add some grounded confidence, knowing who we are and whose we are. This is not about bouncing back to who you were. This is about building again as to who you're becoming. And just like I became a national sales director in the bounce back and building again, so can you. Let me say this clearly as I close. This is not just a bounce back season. This is a bounce higher season. When a ball hits the ground, the purpose of the impact isn't to stop it. It's to store energy. And the deeper the compression, the higher the rebound. Some of you weren't falling. You were being positioned. Scripture says, the latter glory shall be greater than the former. And that's Haggai 2:9. What's ahead of you is not a repeat. It's an upgrade. So don't just finish this season, launch from it. Don't just recover, rise. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your season to bounce higher than you ever have before. And the best part is you already have what it takes because you have your drive. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you all at Leadership. I'm passing this over to you, LaRonda.
Director, I'm so excited to be with you. And of course, here we go. We're ending December and starting the new year strong, right? Asking God to give us a crystal clear vision. I want to read you something. It says, vision isn't selfish. It is the permission your people need to believe what's possible for themselves. So I don't know what vision you have for your team, for yourself, for your people. I'm not sure, but I'm here to tell you that if you don't learn to step into the vision that God has given you, I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to encourage you here that tell you a few stories about how I stepped into my vision. Did it always happen when I wanted it to happen? Absolutely not. And so let me just first of all tell you when I started. When I started, I was a 1-month-old director. I go to seminar. I see the beautiful National Sales Director Emeritus Suzanne Brothers being crowned queen on the seminar stage. I had just gotten off the stage on the National Court of well, we called it recruiting back then, but sharing, but it is recruiting. And I get off the stage and I'm watching Suzanne being crowned queen. And I saw myself, I had never seen something like that before. I saw myself actually floating across that stage. And I want you to hear my heart that I visualized myself as number one for years. And I'm going to explain that to you, but I saw myself in a beautiful white gown. That it flew, and I had, of course, Madison, my first child. So in the vision was one baby, then it was two babies. But I want you to hear my heart. From the time I saw the vision, it wasn't 1 year, it wasn't 5 years, and it wasn't even 10 years. It was 15 years later before that vision came to pass. I don't always believe that people are willing to wait. And I get it. It was frustrating. Hello. I was just kept going and telling my unit hello to the number one unit in the Diamond Seminar. But I'm here to tell you, when I sat in that throne, and I want you to hear my heart, I sincerely said, it's, God's delay is not God's denial, because I could have easily given up. In fact, I wanted to give up many times. I remember when I was actually pregnant for Cameron. So this was a long time ago. This was 25 years ago. And I was pregnant for Cameron, and I was at seminar, and Troy and I were walking back to the limousines. That's where for the $1 Million Directors. And we were walking out by ourselves, and Tom Watley, our president, was walking by himself. And he says, "What's your goal?" I said, "You know what my goal is, Tom." And, of course, Lisa, we all love her, Lisa Matson, right? But she was in our seminar. But of course, no matter what, it was my vision to be, yes, number one, but also two, to really, when she was in the race here, of course, I was hello to the number two unit in the Diamond Seminar. I didn't care. I just knew, I just saw where I saw. But the bottom line, Tom Watley took me behind stage at seminar. The arena was empty. It was all gone. The throne was lifted up in the arena, and he had the guys pull it down, and it was just Troy, Tom, and myself and the workers. And he took a picture with me sitting in the throne, and I took that picture and I blew it up to a poster size, and my people signed it. It was absolutely wonderful. And I can tell you right now, that made such a huge difference in my life. Back in the day, we did affirmations, like seriously, like we had music. You can do it on your phone now, but it's March and this is where we are, and it's June. And I mean, every month I spoke into existence, like seriously what I desire and what I felt and what I was trusting that God was showing me. And so I want to tell you a story also too. The year that Hurricane Katrina, I live in Louisiana, the year that Hurricane Katrina happened, it was like, when it happened, you can ask any director that was here. It was just unbelievable, right? It was unbelievable. As many of us have had natural disasters, and it was unbelievable. Okay, it was just nothing happened. Nothing was going on. Nothing happened. No recruits, no nothing. And we were going at leadership, because there has been many times at leadership that we were at 600,000 or 500,000 already, easily. I mean, and I say that with a sincere heart, because, Mary Kay taught us to build deep and wide, right? And so I would go, and I knew that we were doing 1 million, but we were like at 300,000. Okay. And on paper, it was not the norm. Okay. But I saw myself speaking. And I just want you to know that, Mary Kay always said, have 5 pockets, and I have everything in your backyard. And I hope and pray that you have 5 or 10 pockets and not everything in your backyard, because you never know. But I went to work and I kept serving and giving. And that year we weren't number one, but we still did 1 million. And I just want you to hear my heart. I don't know what God is showing you, but from the time he shows you and where you are now, A lot is going to happen there. A lot is going to happen. But I just want to encourage you as I close out to tell you that vision is so powerful. And truly, I just believe that God, speaks to us through the word of God. He speaks to us through visions, through dreams. I mean, a lot of things that God does for us. But when something is so like, because God doesn't change his mind, we do. But if something is like so on your heart, you just know that you know, you just know that you know that you know that you know. I'm telling you, do not give up. Well, I know that y'all know this statement. We've all said it, that you are the five most people you hang around the most, right? Good, bad, or ugly. Straight up. We all know that. And when I started, I did not have friends or any family member that supported me, but I listened to cassette tapes. I want to encourage you over the next 6 months. Like, don't be reactive to Voxer. Don't listen to another idea. Like, I can tell you, I believe that most of you are masters at the party, and whether you're virtual, in person, or whatever you choose to do, that's your decision. But I want you to hear me out. Listen to stories of people who did it, who stood the test of time, who rose up and who did not give up. I am telling you, it will inspire your heart, mind, and your soul. But the bottom line is, when I went on my very first top director trip, my very first year, so I don't know if you're a new sales director listening, I have no idea. But my very first year, our unit did 769,000. And I am here to tell you, I'll never forget that. God is so good. I was on that trip, and had my little first timer badge, and I was said, "There's Lisa Madsen." And I heard her story so many times. Her husband drove a bicycle. He was a school teacher. I knew they were living on love. And I knew the whole story. I knew Cheryl Steinman's story and Pam Toll's story. And I knew their stories before they ever even met me. But let me just say this to you. You are the five most people you hang around the most, and even in Mary Kay. And I want to read you this. You will rise and fall with the people you are around. You never outgrow your core circle. So I don't know how big your core circle dreams, but I'm here to tell you, it's not that you don't love people, but I'm here to tell you, you need to think about what you're thinking about. Don't allow people who have not been where you're headed to talk you out of continuing the journey. And I want you to know, it's your decision on what you choose to do, but I'm here to tell you, have an internal scoreboard. Carolyn Savage, when she passed away, the priest said that Carolyn was driven from the inside out and not the outside in. I'm here to tell you, you will rise up every day when it's not about a diamond ring or a trip. I want you to have it all. You will have it all, but it is so ingrained inside of you that you will go over, around, and through to make your dreams come true. I want to say this to you. I do believe that how you do anything is how you do everything. So you know what? Let's learn to make different decisions. Let's learn to have a stack. Let's learn to make the right choices. And I just want you to hear my heart that everyone can quit on you, but you'll never quit on yourself. And I want you to know that you can do anything. I'm passing it on to Julia, but I want you all to know that I love and believe in you. Have an amazing last part of Seminar 2026.
Hello, gorgeous people. What a morning. What a morning. Talk about being elevated. Talk about expanding our vision, right? I mean, here we started our seminar year with making our vision books, and we're already here for 2.0 to upgrade. One of the things I loved that National Diana Sumter shared with me was that she loves to create her affirmations around her vision, meaning, so this is like an upgrade, if you will. I'm so excited because today is day 2 at seminar, and I'm about to walk on stage debuting my 7 new first line sales directors and my 6 new second line sales directors and my 5 new third line sales directors. So many of them are being celebrated for high achievements. 5 in their pink Cadillacs, 10 in unit clubs. Do you see what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera. So I love that. Taking the time to write out, it's day whatever at seminar, and this is what myself and those I lead are being celebrated for. How about having that playing in the background because you voxed it to yourself while you are flipping through the pages and emotionalizing and visualizing your particular God-given dream? Well, I was asked to share a couple of stories. We all love stories, right? Because we remember things in stories. So, as most of you know, Rena Tarbett was my national sales director. And then I had the privilege of being led by Jana Cox for a couple of years, and then the privilege of being part of the Mary Kay Go Give area, the Mary Kay national area. So when I came into Rena's area, I really had no visions of grandeur. And I was convinced, that just $50 a week was great. Then I made a little bit more. I was excited to become a star. But even back then, I always said on the page of our flip chart that had the car on it, I always would say, oh, and this is the first car you can earn for free in Mary Kay. And so that's one of my goals. Well, after about a year, my director was talking about how we need to be specific with our goals. And so I began to say on that page, and this is my goal. And as soon as I have my first star team member, my first star consultant team member, that will be the beginning of that journey. So I knew stars drove cars, but in my mind, as soon as I recruited a star, that would be when I knew I was building a strong enough team to not just enjoy the victory, but indeed to sustain it. So I tell you this because as we would have these big star consultant events that Rena would put on, and I'm talking $700 people at a hotel for a banquet. They'd pull the Mary Kay cars in. It was insanity in Dallas, Texas, just her area even. And so I asked my sales director, Deb, at one point, what does it need to happen like for me to get to meet Rena where she would know my name? So I had an incident where I had missed being the queen of all the stars that particular quarter by a quarter, 25 cents. And so she knew me by that because she gave me a large lecture, long, large, deep, wide lecture in front of God and everyone at that 700 people event that, but for the lack of a little more, I could have been the queen. So I knew she knew who I was, but she did not know my name. So Deb shared with me, oh, well, Rena has 150 directors, so you would need to become a director for her to know your name. That's like her deal. I was like, oh, okay. So that started something in me. That was like a whole nother level of, and I mean this in a good way, expectation. That there was an expectation that you would get close proximity with the leader, where she would even know your name when you elevated yourself to that next level of promotion, when I poured enough into others' lives to elevate them to their next level of promotion. So I did become a sales director after I earned that car, and I was so excited for Rena to know my name. And so that first, I met her. We did several director meetings, all those things. And that first year, we completed the $400,000 unit club. And what she called me all year, so we were Joya and Chip, and what she called us all year was Julie and Skip. So when I did the $400,000 unit club, when my unit was celebrated at that level, I asked her on stage, so what do I need to do for you to call me the correct name? Again, open for elevation, right? And she said, oh, well, you would need to do more than 400,000. Don't you love it when your leader shoots you straight? I mean, perhaps I give too much grace, right? So I was like, okay, well, what would I need to do? Just give me a number. I'm going to go for it. And she's like, well, you probably need to break a record. And I was like, okay, well, what's left? Because she'd already been a national for 20 years. And she's like, I don't know if there's anything left. And I was like, so I just started going down this list, things I could just think of. We had to continue the conversation on the phone later. And finally, she landed on, oh, well, no one's ever done the Circle of Excellence in their second year as a sales director. And I was like, okay, put me down. That's what we'll do. Y'all, I did not know what that was. Which, of course, plays right to our point of it's all about the vision, not about the how-to, not about where you are right now. So I was like, sign me up. Okay, so as soon as I hung up from her, I called Deb Miller and I said, hey, what is the Circle of Excellence? What's those numbers and how do I do it? Because I just told Rena I would so that she would know my name, the real correct name. Well, Deb helped me start doing math. I was completely overwhelmed, but I'd already given my word. Speaks to what we say with our voice, right? And so I put up pictures everywhere. Every room had a goal poster. It was on the refrigerator. It was the dash of my car. It was on every page of my date book. I wrote it every day. And it did not look like that's where we were going in the beginning. And then in January, we had our first month of over $36,000. And I knew we could catch up. I knew we could do it. And indeed we did. And so then she knew my real name was Julia. And of course, we became fast friends. And then that next year, we moved on up. Goal, of course, was million. And we hit the 920,000 mark. And so much to celebrate. And so much that goes to our point of what is it you're putting your emotional energy into? What are you placing your eyes on? You know, God says, lift up your eyes to us so many times in scripture for a reason, because left to our own devices, we tend to drift and we tend to gaze in directions that don't serve us, that are not excellent and elevated. And we tend to get deceived into complacency instead of decision, excellence, elevation. So what we're inviting you to is to do it again. That's right. We are starting the Kit and Commit movement all over again for January. So that's your challenge. Would you be willing, leaders? Would you be willing to be inconvenienced? Would you be willing to humble yourself and serve the way you once did out in the field, as though you had no one following you? Would you be willing to be as excited and enthusiastic about this perfect start, book 8, hold 5 in a 2-week period, as though it's the first time you've ever done it, and that it's in honor of Mary Kay herself? We know you will. We can't wait to see the great move of God that is coming because of all of our willingness to see the vision, write the vision, believe the vision, live in the vision, do the vision as we kit and commit together. Thanks so much for being part of our vision workshop. Mwah! Blessings as you chase God and as He leads you to all of His girls that are waiting in the wings for you.